Well, welcome back up to the top of the tower at Trinity English for another edition of The View from Here. This morning, I'm pleased to be up here with Nicole King, who is part of the Human Library. Nicole, welcome to the tower at Trinity, and welcome to our view of our city up here.
Thank you.
So, Nicole, did you grow up here in Fort Wayne?
Actually, no. I was born on the East Coast, grew up in Gary, and then after a couple of more moves, ended up in Fort Wayne. I've been here for about 22 years now.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
yeah.
So this has been home for
I'm
a while.
vested. Yep, I am vested.
Vested in
yes,
it. Yes,
I am.
indeed. Yeah. So you're going to take your retirement as you're vested in the
And go.
and go. Well, Nicole's part of the Human Library program, and we've been pleased to be able to sponsor Human Library at least once in the middle of the summer, and Human Library is coming up again in October.
October the 12th from 9 to 5 at the Allen County Public Library. So yes.
Right. So tell us a little bit about Human Library and your involvement in it, and why you're part of it, and what it means to you.
Ellen, which is my co-organizer, and I were part of a different group. And we both had this vision of creating sacred space for individuals to share their stories. The Human Library has actually been around for 20 plus years. But Ellen and I wanted to do it for Fort Wayne because one, it didn't exist here, and two, we wanted to show that your neighbors existed beyond your zip code and your culture. Mm-hmm. And this gave people an opportunity to sit down in a safe space and experience just that. I personally am involved in it because it gives me a sense of peace to feel like I'm actually moving the ball forward with educating people about diversity and what it really means to love thy neighbor. It's not just about loving the person who shares the block or who breaks bread with you regularly. It's meeting that person that you never otherwise would have had a conversation with, and really having some intimate time to get to know them and realizing they're just as human as you, despite their experience or their outer look. There are all types of people who have experienced all types of walks of life. And surprisingly, most of the books, so I can just about say all of the books that come into our library, it's not just for the community. It helps them to realize that they're a part of the community. As they get to sit down and talk with someone, they really get a feel for, I belong here. It gives a sense of belonging. It gives a sense of connectedness. And I think that some programs miss that, because once you get up and you leave, what are you leaving with? Sure. Well, within our Human Library, you leave with a connection or a newfound understanding or exposure to something. The goal is to break down stereotypes and bias. And sometimes you're not even aware you have those biases. So a conversation with someone where you're free to ask a question helps you to chisel away at those things that you believe to be true that may not be true. It may just be a narrative that you've gotten accustomed to, or a narrative that you've heard so much that it's become fact. Sometimes we hear things so often, we believe them. We don't even question them anymore. I want to encourage people to question, to look for the deeper meaning of things. And the Human Library gives us that opportunity. It allows a safe place for it, actually.
We've done Human Library here at Trinity and had a great experience with that. And so we know kind of a little bit of the lingo that, the book is the person who has the experience, the life, the story, and the reader is the person who comes and talks with the book, or listens to the story.
Listens and talks, because it's a conversation.
Yeah. So what kind of response have you gotten from readers?
From readers, I'll tell you, most readers, after they attend our event, they become volunteers. So that's a good thing, because that's a buy-in for us. It shows that they were so taken with what we were doing, they wanted to find a way to be a part of it. And Ellen and I never wanted to own the Human Library Fort Wayne. We really wanted it to be in a community event, welcoming to all, and find ways for everyone to be included in some way or another. Most readers leave feeling connected, or feeling like we actually have to encourage them not to exchange too much personal information, because during that time of that sharing, they feel like they're finding a friend. They feel like they found a long lost friend sometimes. So that's a good feeling. You want people to feel more connected. You want people to get up feeling like, I got another human being that beyond race, color, culture, I connect with this person. And for no other reason than I empathize with their story, or even sometimes I sympathize with their story. We were cautious about the church because we did not want them to quench the spirit of openness and diversity. So we were really happy to come to your church and find that you were already doing the work. It wasn't something we had to convince you of or explain in depth. You were welcoming to all of our books. And we haven't had that experience with all. We're hoping that as the story expands and as the Human Library grows, that more churches will see the value in sharing your community as a whole. But we're very thankful to Trinity for already having those pillars in place of openness to diversity and loving all, openly loving all.
So if I wanted to be more involved in the Human Library, apart from just coming.
A reader.
Yes.
There are several ways you can be involved. We have volunteer opportunities, which you can find that on our website, on our social media, which is Human Library FW. Please go and like that page. On our website, you can also find a donation link. We're always looking for funds if you want to donate.
A donation link, yes.
That's
yes,
right. That's important.
Yes.
The work we do, while important, is not free. Ellen and I personally don't get paid, but things like T-shirts for our volunteers. We always serve our volunteers lunch and our books day of event. We always have water at events and snacks. And more times than not, someone usually will contribute or donate those things. But as we're growing, we're hoping to build those pieces. If you're interested in being a volunteer, one of the quickest ways to do that is to shoot an email to us, which is humanlibraryfw@gmail.com. And then, like I said, visit our website, which is humanlibraryfw.com.
Okay.
Right now, we're looking for specific titles.
Okay.
You would have to contact us via email, again, humanlibraryfw@gmail.com, and tell us bits of your story, and then either myself or Ellen would contact you and let you know if that's a book that we don't have on our shelves or our next steps. Our next steps are always a survey and then a 2-to-1 meeting with Ellen and I. We always try to have our books prepared because this is something new. We try to prepare and help our books be ready for our events to the best of our ability.
Well, we hope that you had the opportunity to come and join us at the Human Library. It'll be right at the library, right across the street from Trinity English. I know you probably will park in our parking lot anyway, but welcome. We're glad to be able to host your car as you go over to the Human Library. Nicole, thanks for being with us. Thanks for what you do for our community.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And we're looking forward to seeing you again sometime soon on The View from Here.